Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Anne and today I'm doing the bookshelf tag. I really love doing book tags. It's just a fun way to create new content and to talk about the books on my shelves. And I saw Katja do this tag, the bookshelf tag, and I thought it was really fun, so I decided to do it as well. It's basically just a book tag to showcase the books on your shelves, the longest, the shortest, things like that. And at the end of the video I'm going to show you my bookshelves as a whole, just zooming in a little bit, showing you each shelf. But for now, let's just get into the questions. The first question is, how many bookshelves do you have? And I have two bookcases, these two white ones behind me, and each case has 7 shelves, so I have 14 shelves in total. These tan bookcases, there are 2 of them as well, are my boyfriend's bookcases. When we moved in together, we briefly considered mixing our books, but I really wasn't a fan of that because I like to show my books a certain way. He likes to organize them by alphabet, which actually leads to the third question. I'll do the second question in a second. This is already getting messy. But the third question is, how do you organize your books? And I organize my books on my shelves by genre. As you will see later on in this video, I've got my classics at the top, I've got my fantasy and sci-fi all grouped together, I've got my contemporary grouped together. There's some non-fiction / Dutch fiction at the bottom. That's just the way I like to organize my shelves. I did organize them by alphabet at some point, but I just thought that the way I did it, it looked a bit messy. I think it really works for my boyfriend's shelves, but for mine, I just prefer to do it by genre. So then there's question number 2, and that's, how many books do you have on your shelves, or how many do you think you have on your shelves? I haven't counted all of them, but I think there are about 300 books on my shelves, give or take. And I do know how many unread books I have on my shelves, because I do like to keep track of that, and at the start of the year I had 75 unread books. Question number 4 is, what is the oldest book on your bookshelves? And I think you can interpret this in 2 ways. You can think of the actual oldest book, and that's, for me, I think, The Importance of Being Earnest and Lady Windermere's Fan by Oscar Wilde. This is an Old Penguin Classics edition that I found in a secondhand bookstore in Dublin, and I think it's from 1940. In terms of when the book was written, I haven't thought about that, but I think that would be The Morte d'Arthur by Thomas Malory, but I'm not entirely sure. There might be books on my shelves that are older than that, but I can't think of them right now. And the other way you can think of this question is the book that you've owned for the longest, and I think that would be The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. I've had this since high school when we had to read this for my English class. All of us in our class got one of these because we all had to read it. I remember really enjoying it but being a bit confused by it. It's about Christopher, who is 15 and he has Asperger's syndrome, and back then I didn't really know what that was. I didn't know really all that much about it. I did learn a lot from this book about it, but it's about Christopher who kind of wants to solve the murder of his neighbor's dog, I think it was. And it's about him and how he goes about this, and I really don't remember all that much from it anymore. I do remember I liked it, but I still have it on my shelves because I'd really like to reread it at some point, now that I have more knowledge of autism in general. I actually just remembered that I have a book that is older than the Oscar Wilde book, and that is this one. It looks very old as well. I found this, or my parents I think found this at a secondhand book fair type thing for charity, and it's Una and the Red Cross Knight and Other Tales from Spencer's Fairy Queen by N.G. Royd Smith. I've never actually taken a very good look at this book. I do remember that we briefly touched upon this when I did my English degree in one of my literature courses. I don't remember that much from it. Edmund Spencer's Fairy Queen was first published at the end of the 16th century, I think, so quite old. But this book isn't nearly as old as that, of course, but I think it said 1934. But I thought this was just Spencer's Fairy Queen, but it seems to be written by someone named N.G. Royd Smith, so it must be a retelling of sorts. It's very pretty. It has color illustrations at the front and more illustrations in the book itself, but I must admit that I've never actually opened this book before, so I don't really know that much about it, but I'm pretty sure it's the oldest book on my shelf. Question number 5 is, what is the newest book on your bookshelves? And that question is much easier to answer because in all the ways you can think of it, it's Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. This is both the newest release that's on my shelf, so the newest book in terms of when it was published, and this is the most recent book that I bought. I've already read it. I've talked about it in I think 3 different videos now, so if you want to know my thoughts on it, I'll leave the link to my January reviews up above and down below. Question number 6 is, what is the longest book on your bookshelf? And I thought this might be The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, which is what I'm reading at the moment, and I'm loving it so far. But it actually didn't even turn out to be the second longest or the third longest probably. But the actual longest book on my shelf is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J Maas, which is the final book in the Throne of Glass series. And I should say that for this question I looked at actual novels because I've got a few complete works of la-di-da on my shelves, like Arthur Conan Doyle. And I think those will be over 1,000 pages, but it just didn't seem like a fun answer to this question since it's not one story. As for one story, it's Kingdom of Ash, which is 984 pages, so almost 1,000 pages. I have to admit that I have debated whether or not I should unhaul these books because they do take up a lot of space on my shelves and I don't think I will ever reread them. I really loved them when I first read them, especially the first couple of books. Towards the end of the series there were some things that I was getting more annoyed by, like the heteronormative pairing off of all of the main characters and almost all of the characters being white, but all in all I just really loved this series. I loved the story. It was one of the first fantasy books I read, I think. I think I read the first book in 2014. 2013 maybe? No, probably 2014 or 2015 even. But back then I didn't really read much fantasy and I really wanted to get into the genre more, to get to know it better, and I think Throne of Glass was probably the first one I picked up. Question number 7 is predictably what is the shortest book on your bookshelf? And I think it is this one, The Custard Heart by Dorothy Parker, which is under 50 pages. This is one of the Penguin Modern Classics. I've got some of the Penguin Black Classics up there as well. And I haven't actually read this one, so I can't tell you what it's about. I think this is a short story though. But as for short novels under 200 pages that I have on my shelves, we've got The Sense of an Ending by Julian Barnes, which I read in 2019 I think and really enjoyed. Then there's Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin, which I haven't read yet, but I'm probably going to read in March. And then there's also this one, and I still don't know if I should pronounce this as the Penelopiad or the Penelopiad by Margaret Atwood. But I think it's the Penelopiad. Please someone tell me how to pronounce this. Anyway, I haven't read this one either, but it's also on my TBR for March. Question number 8 is what is the predominant genre on your bookshelves? And I'm pretty sure that it's contemporary, both adult and YA contemporary combined. I do have a couple of shelves of fantasy as well. I do have 2 shelves of classics, but I have 6 shelves of contemporary books, so I think it's clear that I own mostly contemporary novels. Question number 9 is have you done a bookshelf tour? And I have done a bookshelf tour. I will leave the link up above and down below. Things on my shelves have changed a bit since then. I haven't looked at it again. It's over a year old, I think. I think I made it in 2019, so I was also just starting out making videos, so I'm not sure how good the video is, but if you really want to get an in-depth look at my shelves, that will be the video to watch. Question number 10 is go on a random number generator and read the book that corresponds to that number, so I'll do that right now. So we're going to talk about shelf number 13 and then book number 8. So on shelf number 13 there are mostly fluffy contemporary novels, and book number 8 is Summer at Little Beach Street Bakery by Jenny Colgan. This is the second or third book in the Beach Street Bakery series by Jenny Colgan. I really enjoy these books. I love Jenny Colgan's writing. They're just really fast-paced, fluffy books that usually involve either baking, like this one, or books, or small towns, small islands. Both of those are in this one as well. And they're just books that make me feel happy. This one is, like I said, the second book. So I'll tell you what the first book is about, which is Little Beach Street Bakery. It's about Polly, who I think she loses her job, or at least she loses her long-term boyfriend, because he breaks up with her, not because he dies. He breaks up with her and then she decides to move on a whim to a tidal island called Mount Polburn, I think. It's a very small island that gets cut off from the mainland whenever the tide is high, and she starts a bakery there. Kind of by accident, and then there's also a puffin, a really cute puffin that keeps her company, and of course there's some romance involved and it's just very sweet. Question number 11 is do you have fan merch or any other decorations on your bookshelves? And I don't have much fan merch. I have this mug, a Wuthering Heights mug, because I really love Wuthering Heights. I have several copies of the book, and I've got this candle, Nightwash candle, which came in the, I want to say Owl Crate, yes, Owl Crate special edition box of Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater. I've never actually lit it because the smell is kind of overpowering, but I do keep it on my shelves because it looks cool. And other than that, I've got quite a few decorations on my shelves. I've got a plant over there and one over here. I've got a couple of cards that friends and family sent me. I've got a few mugs. I've got a jar with licorice on my shelves because I have nowhere else to keep it. There's some things that just randomly ended up there, like a spare battery I think you will see on my mini bookshelf tour I'll do in a minute. But I really like the cozy feel of my bookshelves and they just really make me happy. So that's it for all of the questions in this book tag. If you want to do this tag as well, please consider yourself tagged by me. And the last question is to actually show your bookshelves. So in a few seconds I'll just leave you with some footage of my bookshelf. And that's all from me, so please like this video if you liked it. In a comment tell me how you organize your bookshelf bookshelves. I'd love to know if you do it by alphabet, by color, by genre, by author. That's kind of by alphabet as well. Anyway, just let me know in the comments. I'd love to chat. And please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my videos. And have a wonderful day. Bye!